Alright, what's going on, guys? So this episode is going to talk about full manual versus revolution and which one you should use. In all honesty, I think that Necromancy kind of requires you to play a lot more actively than some of the other combat styles do, at least while your living death is up, or at least that's what I thought at first. But I think the reality is that the better and better your gear gets, the more important it's going to be to use your abilities in the right order to get the most out of the gear that you're spending. So right now, I'm using a max mage setup. This is the full crit setup, and I'm going to show you what 1 minute of magic looks like. Or it's going to be a little bit more than a minute because I need to stack my insight fear. But I'll show you what using magic for 1 minute actually looks like. And the reality is, you're pressing a lot of buttons for quite a while. So, here, let's do this. As soon as I sunshine, or I'm going to use my Calgarian Demon when the time's right. But here, there's a build up Insight Fear stacks. I'm going to Tsunami, G-Conk, Corruption, Gonna Tsunami, Fractured Staff, use G-Conk here. We're gonna Limitless Tendrils. Omni Power, Wild Magic, G-Staff, G-Staff, G-Conk, G-Staff, G-Staff, G-Conk, and then you just alternate G-Staff, G-Staff, and G-Conk. Well, like, now we just revel, right? Because, like, there's nothing to do. So, like, you use your thresholds as they come up. But, like, I mis-sequenced a couple of my beginning abilities because it's been a really long time since I've used magic. But, like, that was, like, for that, like, 34 seconds, I was basically playing in full manual, right? And that's what you do with Max Mage. Is that, and you still have like a proper sequence of abilities, especially once you get into 4-tick auto attacking. I don't do that. It's a lot of work. Don't care. But when you do get into those types of things, using your abilities in a specific order is really, really, really important. Same thing is true with Necromancy. Now, a lot of you guys are going to be more familiar with Necromancy, but the reality here is that during your living death, and even before your living death, you don't really have a ton of leeway in the order of abilities that you use. So, let's say we're fighting a boss. We summon all 3 of our guys, activate Ghost, invoke Death, activate Skeleton, Skulls, Soul Sap. We can revel for a little bit, so we can revel these next 3 abilities. Then we Living Death, Revel 1 ability, Skulls, Finger of Death, Soul Sap, Auto Attack, Auto Attack, Auto Attack, Finger of Death, Skulls, Soul Sap, Touch of Death, Auto Attack. Oh, I lagged there for a second. Okay, I'm like lagging, but you can see that, you know, while you're doing your rotations, and if you're doing them properly, you don't really have a whole lot of time to just chill. Like, I revoed 4 abilities in the course of 46 seconds, which means that for the rest of it, or sorry, like 36 seconds. So for the rest of it, I was playing the game. The same thing is true with range. I haven't done a range rotation in a while, so this is going to be really scuffed. But this is all just for the sake of showing you what I mean. So, with range... Oh, let me get my ECB. We'll get this, and then we'll get this. That'll let me restore my prayer. I'm not good at melee, so I'm not even going to show you what a melee rotational looks like. But for ranged, you might do something like this, where I have a Bow of the Last Guardian, so I'm going to Alt, A-Pot, Bow of the Last Guardian, and then we're just going to start using abilities. So here, because Bow of the Last Guardian, I'm going to use Rapid Fire, so the last hit of Rapid Fire ends on the last stack. I'm going to use Greater Ricochet, I'm going to use Saren Godbow here. I'm going to Limitless, and then use Snapshot. And then I'm going to use a basic here. It's the 4th hit, so I'm going to use Bow of the Last Guardian again. Use Bow of the Last Guardian. Use Greater Ricochet. Use Bow of the Last Guardian. And like now I would just Revolution. But I revoed maybe 2 abilities in that whole 30 seconds. And like now I get to revo the rest of it. But for every minute I'm using Revolution for more than half of it with these 2 abilities, and then with Necromancy it's every 90 seconds I'm playing manually. So as you get better and better, and as your gear gets better and better, you're gonna notice that you're doing a lot all the time. Now, does this mean you need to switch to full manual? No, I don't think so. Because there are times where you may want to use this same bar for AFKing something. And then if you do that, you can just use the bar and, you know, just AFK something at you range. Like, I used this for Nihil before I started using Necromancy on Nihil. Where you would just use this bar, you take off Rapid Fire so you don't get stuck channeling on something that's dead, and then you just chill. Another thing that you can do, and it's the same thing with Necromancy. When I do Abyssal Lords, I AFK using this bar. And then when I do Abyssal Beasts, I AFK using this bar. So what you could do is, if you're doing more AFK content, you could turn on Revolution. If you're doing less AFK content, you could turn it off. But in my opinion, I think Revolution offers a nice middle ground where if there are bosses where you want to just chill out, then you're allowed to do that, and that's fine. Where you can use this same bar at a low effort boss like Krill and at a high effort boss, and you just play more actively at the high effort bosses. Beyond that, once you finish your Living Death rotation, so let me fire off my Finger of Deaths here so I can do like a full rotation where I'm not lagging. I need to get out of combat, so let me... Okay, so I'm going to summon all my guys and we're going to do a Living Death rotation. So we're going to be actively playing for a good amount of this. So Skulls, Finger of Death, Soul Sap. I think 4 auto attacks here. 2, 3, 4. Skulls, Finger of Death, Touch of Death, Soul Sap, auto attack, Finger of Death, Skulls, Finger of Death. So all of those abilities were exact in the same order. I can just chill and just, you know, now I have 5-stack volley, so I'll volley. My Skulls is coming up, and now I can just chill. Because, like, I don't want to cast any of these other abilities anyway. Like, maybe I'll throw in a bloat. Like, I'll throw in a bloat here. But this is what Revolution is good for. Where I don't have a reason to cast my abilities in a different order right now. I could, but there isn't really a great reason to do so. So this is why I think switching to full manual is not necessary, unless you want to. Especially in the case of Necromancy where you don't have access to 4-tick auto attacking, there just isn't a good reason to use full manual. It's purely because you want to. You don't get an advantage from doing 4-tick autos or 5-tick autos with ranged. You don't get any of that. So because you don't get that, I don't think there's a reason to do full manual if you're not comfortable with it. So if people are telling you need to do full manual, if they're telling you that you're not good unless you do a full manual, they're wrong. That's pretty much it. Like, I've been playing on Revolution my entire life. There's no desire to switch to full manual. There are certain bosses where you have to play a lot more actively than other bosses. Again, like Rise of the Six, which I showed you in my last video, I do those kills full manual because you literally can't stop to move. But there are other bosses like Raksha, where you do your living death rotation. Although Raksha isn't a great example because once you kill him fast enough, you are playing the whole kill. But even when I'm doing Raksha, I do a living death rotation, I do pool skip, I go into phase 4, and then in phase 4, I'm just on Revolution until I break his shield. So even at one of the harder bosses, I'm still taking advantage of Revolution, just playing the game, because Necromancy is really nice because it only has 3 basics, and their cooldowns usually don't line up in a way where one of your basics is blocking the other one. Like, you could argue having Soul Sap first is better, but then that, like, it's just a lot of work. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You don't need to do manual if you don't want to. It's nice, especially for Magic, because I believe after the Fracture Staff change, if you're doing 4-tick auto attacking with full manual, you're getting the same or a little bit more damage than you were before the change. So it is useful. It has its uses. There are 0 bosses besides solo Rise of the Six and duo Rise of the Six, because you kind of have the same issue. There are 0 bosses besides solo and duo Rise of the Six where you have to use full manual, otherwise you can't kill it. And even then, as I said before, using full manual doesn't mean you have to turn off Revolution. Like, in my last video, I did a Rise of the Six kill where this yellow bar was around all these abilities, but I was still using the full manual, right? So hopefully this guy helps you feel a little bit better about using Revolution. And if you decide you want to use full manual, you know, the encouragement's here. There is a lot of damage to be done by pressing your abilities in the right order, and I think that's the important takeaway here. Revolution doesn't stop you from pressing your abilities in the right order. In my opinion, it just gives you a little bit of downtime, which for a lot of bosses is really nice to have. So yeah, I hope this helps you guys. If you like the video, give me a like. If you like the channel, feel free to subscribe. And if you want to support me monetarily, you can become a member. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.